My horrible ex accused me of hiding income and money laundering. Her divorce lawyer demanded 3 years of financials, so I granted his wish. This happened several years ago when my ex and I were going through a heated divorce and custody battle. While we were married, we had a couple of conversations about how rich people hide their assets to avoid paying taxes. I've never had enough assets to do this, but she somehow got the idea that I was, and told her attorney that I was laundering money and hiding income. It was probably just the heat of the moment, as divorce battles often come down to. I couldn't even afford my own attorney, so I represented myself. Her lawyer wasn't a total ass, but he clearly was out to get me, and talked down to me like I didn't deserve to breathe the same air. One day, I got a letter in the mail from him, requesting an updated income declaration form and 3 years of financials. It had a long list of things to include. I owned a communications tech company that was in the super startup phase back then. Money was already tight. I was trying to get the business off the ground with no financing while finishing my MBA with scholarships and loans. So paying for copies, postage, or driving 30 miles to his office meant eating peanut butter and saltines for a week. So I called him to explain my situation. He all but called me a liar and didn't believe I couldn't afford it. I was put off by that and said this was taking time away from business I needed to handle. He replied, well, according to your income declarations, you're not that busy. What do you do all day? Then he said, if he didn't get these documents, he would consider my previous filings fraudulent, tell the judge, contact the DA, and alert the state tax agency and IRS. Probably an empty threat, but I'm no lawyer. eFax is one of the services my company provides, and at that time, it was relatively unknown. So I asked him if he had a fax machine. He said he had a fax/scanner/copier, and then added, what law office doesn't have a fax machine? That's when I suddenly got an idea. Okay, I said to him, I'll put it together and fax whatever I can. Okay, fine. You want 3 years of financials? You got it. I scanned to PDF every receipt I could find. McDonald's receipt from 5 years ago? Sure, include it. CVS receipt? Perfect. 3 miles long, they get the $1 off toothpaste coupons too. I downloaded every bank statement, credit card statement, purchase order from vendors, and every invoice I sent to clients. I printed to PDF the entire 3-year accounting journal, monthly, quarterly, annual balance sheets, cash flow statements, P&Ls. Not only did I PDF 3 years of tax filings, but every single letter I'd received from the IRS and state tax agency, including the inserts advising me of my rights. It took a while, but I finished a few days ahead of the deadline. I made a cover page with a black background and white lettering. Wherever I could, I added separator pages in all caps and the biggest, boldest font that would fit in landscape mode. 2020 receipts, 2020 taxes, etc. I merged everything into a single 150-plus page compressed PDF and set it to send using my EFA system. Every hour or so, I received a status email saying the fax failed. That's weird. Well, they're getting this document. So I changed the system configuration to unlimited retrieves after failures to keep redialing until it went through. Still getting failures. I deleted the failure emails and kept the success one once it eventually went through. Problem solved. 2 days later, a lady from his office called and asked me to stop sending the fax. Their fax/scanner/printer/copier had been printing nonstop. They kept getting paper jams, ran out of ink, and they had to keep shutting it off and on to print other things. I explained that her boss told me to send this by the deadline, or else he'd call the DA and IRS. Since I didn't want that, I'd keep sending until I got a success confirmation. I suggested they just not print until my fax completed, but she didn't like that. She asked me to email the documents instead. I told a little white lie that my email wouldn't allow an attachment that big unless her boss agreed to cancel the request or reimburse me for my printing and shipping costs. I said I'd continue to fax until they confirmed they had received every page. She put me on hold. Then the attorney got on the line. He said, forget sending the financials. I said that I would need that in writing, and I'd keep sending the fax until I got it. He asked me to stop faxing and said he'd send it in writing. I replied, send it in writing first, and then I'll stop. Long moment of silence. Click. About 20 minutes later, I received an email from his assistant with an attached signed letter in PDF stating that I no longer needed to provide financials. The letter also threatened to pursue sanctions in court or sue me for interfering with their business. Every time I saw him after that, the lawyer never brought up sanctions, lawsuits, criminal referrals, or financials again.